It's your boy Duane Cofield with the Weekly Tap In, live from LA with Drug Dealers to Businessmen. Weekly Tap In. Hope you're doing well, man. This is a little bit different today. So today, what I wanted to do was I'm probing you guys. I'm asking questions. I'm hitting you up. In other words, basically trying to find out one, what questions do you have as it relates to marketing? Before we get there, though, let me share my stuff, man. I just have to do this, man. And the reason why is because marketing, man, it's one-on-one. So let's just talk about something that I did this weekend before I even get to share that. So this weekend, man, I have my shirts, man. One, you got to get your shirts, right? Let me see that. You got to get your shirts. You got to get your shirts on. But hold on, let me make sure that you guys can hear me. Let's see. All right. But let me just make sure. Hold on. I got a story to tell you guys about something I did pretty special this weekend. And hopefully it translates into something else. Let me see. Go ahead, share this with my peeps. Tap in. Let's go. All right. So yeah, this weekend, man. So many of you guys know I live in LA. Not trying to floss or anything like that, but I love it out here. And one of the reasons is because trying to get that straight. There we go. One of the reasons is because this is one of the test grounds for a lot of times when brands are launching different products, they come here to test it, man. They come to Venice Beach. Hold on. It's a little straight. Oh. I just turned that off. All right. Sorry, I'm messing up. Anyways, you get a chance. So I just took it upon myself to go on a bike ride, but I wore my shirt. And when you wear a shirt, I always tell people, man, you're your best billboard, dog. You want to talk marketing 101? Get some shirts. Wear them every time you can. So like buy 3. I have like 3 2X's, right? So I can wear it damn near every day. As long as it's in the right wash rotation, I can wear it every day. So I have this shirt on all the time. Every time I'm out, every time I'm talking to somebody, every time. Hold on, let me just make sure. I can wear it every day. Perfect. Yep. So people recognize it. When I go into the store, I don't know how many people say, man, that's a dope shirt, man. That's a dope shirt. But more importantly, when I turn around, they get to the podcast. They're like, oh, it's a podcast to go with it. Dude, when I was at the grocery store with my dad, he's like, man, that shirt's tight. Then I heard tell somebody else, oh, Drug Dealers to Businessmen podcast. This the whole point. Anybody that knows anything about marketing or advertising knows the first thing you need to do is get their attention, right? Get somebody to look at your message, right? There's a lot of clutter out there. And what businesses aren't doing is figuring out how to position themselves so that they can be somewhat different, right? If you're doing the same exact thing, how do you expect to compete? If you plan to compete on price, good luck with that, right? You can't compete on price. So today's lesson, we're going to be talking about positioning, right? As a business, as a person, as a brand, how do you position yourself for success or to be seen in a certain way? This is the thing about developing your brand, right? A lot of people just say, okay, I'm gonna just set up a brand. I'm gonna just set up a business, right? And we're just gonna do this. And the first problem with that is when you put the just in there, we're just gonna do this. Well, if you're just gonna do that, you probably shouldn't open your doors. How are you gonna be different? How are you going to position yourself to be somewhat different and position yourself for success, right? This is the part that people aren't really comfortable with, right? How are you going to be different? Sweet Red Peach, how is she different? This is the lady in Inglewood. Well, she's established herself on television shows as a legitimate baker. So as seen on TV network, you want to see my old stuff, check it out. And then she does these unique flavors. And when she started out, it wasn't Cupcake Mania yet. It was just starting, so she caught the tip of the wave before it even started. But she positioned herself as an expert. One, you saw her on the TV Food Network. You go to that place now, it's a line around the corner in Inglewood. So she's established herself as that. Let's talk about what's the guy's name who does the speeches? I'll tell you, guy who what's his name? Derek Grace, the dude in Florida. He's the gun guy. You know, and when you look at his videos, the position that he's established himself, I'm the gun guy who's going to tell you how to become just like me, rich and on your own. So he's positioned himself that way. And that's the thing about it is whatever industry you're in, whatever whatever you're trying to do, you need to position yourself so that people know you for that, right? And if you come across as being generic, say for instance our podcast, when we originally started off the podcast, I wanted to call it the Colors of Success, and that was so drawn down and weak that I was like, come on, you could do better than that. And when I said it, when I put it forward, I was like, man, that's not going to be catchy. Nobody's going to really care. Colors of Success is going to fall right into what everybody else is doing. And this is where it's important and critical is that, when you want to compete and when you're trying to get into a crowded field, right? Say, for instance, like podcasting, when you're trying to get into a crowded field like that, it requires you to differentiate. You got to be somewhat different. And when I first started out the podcast, I was like, man, okay, I want to do it just like I listen to all these guys. I listen to Tim Ferriss, and I said, I like the way his style is. So I started to mimic that. But I figured I'd bring these people that no one else has heard of, a lot of these success stories to inspire the homies so that they can do better and want to do better. And at least here's a path on how to do it. And that right there, I think once I started thinking about that and this is the thing. I saw a brother, man. So the young brother, he's a young hustler, man. Look him up, Joe Luckett, man. He's pretty dope. I like his style. But he's the homie Carlton's buddy. But he did a video on personas, and that's something that a lot of businesses don't do. Who's your typical audience member? What does he or she look like? Have you done a whole rundown on them? I used to play that game at Costco. Guess what car they're going to? So when you look at a customer persona, who's your number one customer? What does he or she look like? What is their name? Where do they go to school? What do they drive? Right? Where do they live? What kind of lifestyle? How many people in their household? You need to understand and know all these things about your customer, or you're going to miss out. You're going to start to develop products and positioning statements that don't make sense to them. And that's usually when they check out. So you need to figure out, who am I making this for? It can't be for everybody. If you're making a product and you say this is for everyone, that's the fastest way out of business, because you can't satisfy the one customer who wants to come to you, who wants to spread your message, who wants to tell your story, who wants to get all his friends to come, if you're not making it for him or her. If you're making it for more of a generic type audience, then that's not catering. When you start thinking about category killers, right? They they talked about that in terms of stores. I talk about that in my retail course, right? The different types of retailers, and they go deep in a particular area. So one example would be, if you say, for instance, if you became an expert in paper and you started selling every type of paper. Office Depot, they sell a certain amount, but you're selling different types. You sell light, dark, heavyweight, everything. You go deep in it. You may not need as big as a footprint as Office Depot, but you go deep in it, and you position yourself as the paper store. Once you finish running around with there, you go to them if you're in a hurry, you need bulk. But when you need specialty, you need something unique, something that no one's ever heard of. You need something, paper from rice grown in Babylon. I'm that cat, right? So that's how you differentiate and position yourself. With our hair business, we set it up to where we deliver. This is what we're going to own. It's also called the law of categories. We're going to own this lane, and we're going to position ourselves as the company that delivers hair, rain, sleet, or snow. We make it happen for you. You're in a hair emergency. We're your people. That's how we're positioned. So when people think about that, when we design our marketing campaigns, when we design our explainer video, it has all those elements catering to that person. And we're talking to that busy person who may have ordered our hair but didn't order enough. We're talking to that other person who doesn't have time to drive in LA traffic. That's who we're talking to. And that's it. We're not talking to everybody who wants hair extensions. That's why when people say, oh, my friend wants hair, they may not be our customer. And we're okay with that. We know who our customer is. And as long as we know who our customer is, we can super serve them, which is what a lot of people miss, right? That super serving part. If you're trying to create loyalty, right? That cult-like loyalty, then you need to super serve them exactly what they want, how they want it, right? We care about birthdays. We do gift cards. So that touch, that special touch, that customer service element is what these other hair companies don't offer. So we focus on that. Where's our strong point? right? What makes you different? Whenever you're thinking about a business, whenever you're thinking about starting off a venture, anything, what makes you different? That should be the first question you ask. Not any other question outside of that. What's making me different? How am I going to come in here and make my voice louder? What am I going to say that hadn't been said before? Right? You can't go in there and say the same thing. We just do the same stuff. We just make pizza. Well, damn, right? Well, Fresh Brothers, you have Fresh Brothers in LA, right? There's a deep dish with quality meats and sauces, and you can tell the difference, right? So these are ways to differentiate yourself. And I want you guys to be thinking about that. How am I positioned? How am I positioned as an individual? First of all, a lot of times we don't think about ourselves. What am I an expert at? I always ask people, what do you think of? What's the first thing you think of when you think of me? A lot of people be like, weed. Man, are you the weed? Nah, man, I don't want you to think. That's okay, though. I'm cool with that. But I don't want that to be the first and only thing that you think of when it comes to me. I want you to think of business advice. I want you to think about scholarship, meaning that, I'm turning into an academic, or at least I want to become one, and I'm working towards that. So these are all things that I hope that people, inspiration, motivation, wanting to do more and better. That's what I want to be associated with, right? Business, successful business, right? So think about these things that represent you. And then you also want to look at these same things, and you could do the same thing with your brand and a brand that you sell, perhaps, right? And you think about some of the benefits for that particular brand. Like what's different about it? What makes Samsung different than Apple, right? Oh, it's these things. And it may be physical, it may be utility, or maybe something that's different, something that you can't see, something that's intangible, so you got to figure these things out and figure out what one, if your product does that, or two, what do you bring to the table? Because this is a lot of times analyzation gets you to that point to where you can start to say, okay, here's my strong points, and understand how to sell yourself. It's really important for you to know what you are and what you aren't, right? So that you can say yes and no clearly and not have any guilt about it, not step into things that are overwhelming. That's not my brand, right? So I don't do certain things. You're not going to see me at the club anymore unless it's with my wife, and we're at a really cool lounge that has a small dance floor. We may get down, but you're not going to see us at Towels or whatever in Vegas. We're just not going to be there. It's just not my brand right now. You know what I'm saying? So be clear with what you are and who you are, because when you start stepping outside of your brand, same thing happened in the game. When you want to talk about the game, when you start stepping outside of your zone, outside of what you're good at, outside of the cities you run in, that's usually when you hear about cats, because now you playing in somebody else's arena, right? They always say, man, you can't whoop a three-legged coyote on his own territory, because he's running it, right? He knows it in and out. So no matter if he's at a disadvantage, he's been in that situation for so long. Same thing with a competitor. Don't just think you can come in there and wipe a competitor out. Figure out where you're positioned on this landscape of business, because a lot of times you could set matrix up, right? And on the left axis, or the y axis, you may have price. Am I high or low? Right? And on the x axis, if you're looking at the y is this way, x is this way, and if you're going with the x axis, that may very well be customer service. So you have price and customer service. If they're both high, then you sit up here in that upper white, what is that? Quadrant. I think that's two. It might be one or two, whatever. Right? You're in that upper right quadrant, which means that you have your prices may be high, but your quality, your service is good as well. Or you may be more price conscious, right? But if you got low price and bad service, or a high price and terrible service, and that could be a thing too. So you need to figure out what position that you're going to be in. But positioning is important. This is the thing. I'm not only going to motivate you guys, I want to educate you as well on some things that are important. Customer personas. Figure out who you're making it for, right? And super serve them. There's an article, 1,000 True Fans by Kevin Kelly. I'm going to put it. Let me see if I can put it in the chat. I mean, I'm looking it up right now. See if I can put it in. But 1,000 True Fans. He goes into that, and it's amazing because. See, I'll put it in there. It's a really good read for you guys, but I think it's cool because. Let me type. Why won't let me? Let's see. Hold up. Oh well, I can't put it in the chat. Oh, thought it was gonna let me put it in the chat. For some reason, won't let me put it in the chat unless somebody else chats. But if you guys ask, I'll put it in there. Once somebody responds, I don't know why I can't put it in there. Hold on, let's see. Host chat. Welcome to the host chat. Okay. Why can't I chat? Anyways, I'll share it with you guys so you guys can see it and get the link. Anyways, it's really good, but what it does more importantly is it talks about how to develop that fan base and start with that one or two fans, and that's what I did. You know, I didn't focus on trying to grow this audience to the point of um, of where I can't monitor it, or quality control becomes an issue. So this is it. 1,000 True Fans. It's a really, really good article, but it talks about that. It talks about the long tail strategy, how to focus on specifics, right? Of course, you'll have more people once you start to focus on generic things, but if you super serve these people, they'll turn into raving fans for you, right? They'll promote your product or whatever it is you're selling. They'll do it for you. And that's the thing, right? Do you want to spend marketing? You're going to either spend it on people or you're going to spend it on marketing, but you're going to spend it somewhere. And why not focus on the very people that serve you, that come and give you money on a day-to-day basis? This is game right now, man. We talk about this in marketing, consumer behavior, and retail. What's your position? Positioning statements. What are you saying about yourself? Right? We're a donut shop, and what? We have the most creative donuts in the entire world. Really, right? Or we do this really well. Our butter donut is a Hall of Fame donut, or whatever it is, case may be. You have to claim something. You have to position it in the consumer's mind, because they go through these processes, cognitive, meaning that they're thinking about it consciously, and they go through a process of, how do I buy, what's available? They call it MAO, motivation, ability, and opportunity, right? When you're talking about consumer behavior. So when your motivation, do I have the motivation to want to purchase this product? Right? What's going to motivate me? Well, it has to get my interest. I have to feel like I need it. I have to feel like an Apple Watch, right? I have to feel like I need this Apple Watch. What's my ability? Do I have the financial ability to do it, or do I have the opportunity? Can I buy it? Is it available? Do I have to order it online? Do I have the money? And you look at a lot of these things, and when you talk about consumer behavior, we go through the same process. So your customer is going through that same process, right? So what's motivating them? And it has to be something in terms of that makes you a little bit different, because they go through a thing called an evoked set, right? Or a what's the other term? It's um the technical term is evoke set, but it's basically consideration set is also the other term. And it's basically when I say luxury car, what are the first things you think of? You think of BMW, Mercedes, Audi, right? Or whatever the case may be. How did they position themselves to where they have that real estate in your mind? With positioning statements, with how they position themselves. Another person that's having trouble is the Genesis, because they want to position themselves with the luxury big dogs, but the luxury big dogs are like, you can't come in this club. So they want to position themselves as a luxury car, but they're having a little bit of trouble because most people have that association of reputation with Korea making cheaper products. Now, on the flip side of that, with Samsung emerging as one of the technology giants, that's kind of flipped that conversation over a little bit, right? So think about that. It's kind of flipped it over a little bit. So now you need to say, okay, do they? But they're still having a problem with that positioning, because in the mind of the consumer, they're still this, right? So it takes a lot, when a company makes a mistake or does something, and a customer has it in their mind that they're a certain way, it takes a lot to change that, right? But if you practice, if you understand how positioning works for you and your business, not only your business, but you as an individual, what do you stand for now, right? I used to stand for work. I used to be the quarter piece man, half ounce, zip, whatever. That was when you saw me, you thought, here comes the work. But now I don't want to be associated with that anymore, right? I want to be doing things just a little bit different. So it's I'm not that same guy anymore. But you have a way that you can position that, but you may have to do the work on the back end, especially if you have a reputation that says contrary, right? So I had a reputation of being a hustler, still a hustler, still do some of this, not illegal things, but I still have that same energy and mindset on how to go out there and get it myself, or how to create it out of nothing, right? So I'm still that guy, but I position myself now that I'm in a classroom. I go teach. I teach at a university. I teach at 2 universities, right? I teach legitimate college kids and help them get to these academic achievements, such as a bachelor. I don't teach master's courses yet, but we'll see how that progresses. But yeah, so I teach retail and I have online businesses, but I understand how retail works from a physical standpoint, because when you walk into a place, I analyze it differently now. What's the path to entry? What's really changed? Is it open? Is it wide open, which makes people feel a little bit more free, or is it kind of clustered in? Right? Are the aisles wide? Is it a Costco experience? Was it just chaos and discovery? And they talked about that. When you go through Costco, it's like a treasure finder. You just find all these different things. So you want to go through every aisle because you don't know what you're going to find. Right? So when you're thinking about these things, I want you to think like that. What I don't want you to open up just a store. I want you to open up the store with the mentality of Ritz-Carlton. You have to, because if you don't have that mindset and you don't have that operational mindset, then you won't perform accordingly. So you need to have not only the mindset, but the operational mindset. If this is what I want to be doing with my business from now on, this is how I want to be known. This is how we're positioning ourselves. This is what we're not doing, right? There was an ice cream place up the street from my house, and one of the things that was kind of funny to me is that um there's when you talk ice cream, the place wasn't clean, right? So they didn't sweep, they didn't, it was nasty. And it was like, this is right in your front yard and you guys really don't care. So that must say a lot about it, right? And it had a bee in the window and this and this. And I'm like, okay, it's typical, because all you guys had to do is kind of put some effort behind it and clean up. But nobody wants to do that, right? Because why? I'm not a janitor. They don't hire me to do that. When I worked at KGLH, man, I used to be out there sweeping in a suit, jeweled, I would like flossy, looking nice, and I used to be out there sweeping. Not only not to sweep all the, but just to show, man, we take pride in the sidewalk. I always thought about that, and that could be your brand too. It could be the raggediest neighborhood you could have a store in. But as long as you keep your porch clean, you keep it nice and clean in there. The receptionist is nice, just really, really nice. People are going to come in there and flock. It may take some time. It may take a little bit of time, but they will come in there. It will come. You build it and act nice, they will come. Trust me on that one, man. I just shared some game on my Facebook. Bass Pro Shops. Started off in a liquor store, dog. Started off in a liquor store. You feel me? And now look at them. It's lakes, and they took it to their imagination, which is the beauty of opening your own business and the beauty of retail, is that you can control your destiny. It doesn't, you're not restricted to just, oh, I have to do. You can do whatever we can be creative. Now, where you're limited is franchises. Now, you do have to abide by their rules. You can still be somewhat creative, and it's a great opportunity because you don't have to reinvent the wheel. But the thing about the marketing on a straight business is that you have to develop yourself. You can develop your own systems, and you can create a franchise. That's the beauty. So like Sweet Red Peaches, she can create another one, right? Once she standardizes everything, gets her processes in place, and has a few signature products, there can be a number 2, number 3, Inland Empire, Riverside, Sandy. You can do that, right? I just saw the homie. Shout out to the homie for they just opened up a fishbone. And you look at the franchise model there. Perfect. Built it, set it up, got them a spot. They about to be rich, which is a beautiful thing, right? Understand brands. Understand how to position yourself. Understand where the holes in the market are. What's missing, right? I showed you guys that guy that was cleaning the trash cans, and nobody's doing it still around my neighborhood. I'm low key about to set it up for my son. Like, hey man, why don't you just set up a business where you just clean trash cans, dog? Because they don't clean them. They don't have a business. The city very well maybe hire you, contract you. Hey, we got somebody contracts to come by and does it. Now you got a contract with a city cleaning trash can. Go get you a little loan, write your little business plan or whatever, or just hustle the money and try to get you a little spray nozzle and say, okay, I have this high power spray thing. I just need to connect to your hose. Connect to their hose. As long as it goes high power, whatever, you're on. Just clean it, spray it down, spray everything down, sweep it, make it look nice. clean the whole area up, you got a business, right? You could charge people $40 a month, right? $10 per trash can or whatever. We do $10 a month per trash can. People would love that because the trash cans stink, especially around the holidays. Summertime, trash cans smell, flies. They don't feel like going around and messing with that. They'll gladly pay. They pay $10 to get their car washed. Why wouldn't they do that? So positioning, man. I'm telling you guys about positioning. I want you guys to dial in with me, man. This game I'm giving you guys, but more importantly, what I want you guys to do is let me know what you need, right? Let me know what's missing. Let me know what you need to be taught. Let me know man, I can't figure this out, man. I don't know how to do LLCs. Okay, talk to me, man. I don't know anything about Dunn Street. Let me introduce you to Ellis. Dun and Bradstreet. The Dun and Bradstreet numbers. What do those do for you, man? It's called business credit. Talk to Ellis White or listen to the podcast episode. Man, I want to start out doing this. Oh, you want to do creative? Vincent Bragg. Man, I want to do something like you. Listen to Dijon. So I'm trying to bring people to you guys, man, that are giving you guys the juice. Tap in.